Hi everyone, and welcome back to Genealogy and Decoding Your Y-DNA, a series about how Y-DNA testing can help us explore our paternal lines. My name is Jeremy Lehman, and I am a genealogist who loves weaving DNA into family history research. In this video, we will take a step back into the ancient past to see a few examples of how Y-DNA has helped us understand human migrations across the globe. Let's start with the peopling of the Americas. These were the last continents to be settled by modern humans. Between 19,500 and 15,000 years ago, humans crossed from Northeast Asia into the Americas via the Beringia land bridge. We now know, thanks to ancient DNA samples and Y-DNA testing of those living today, that haplogroups like CMPB373, CP39, QZ780, QM848, and QY4276 were involved in these migrations. The male lineage expansion in some of these haplogroups represent one of the most rapid demographic expansions in human history after coming out of Africa. By 13,000 BCE, haplogroups such as QZ780 and QM848 had reached Mexico. Humans continued migrating southward from there into South America. Y-DNA has also provided evidence of populations being isolated. The Andes Mountains, for example, created a genetic divide between Andean and Amazonian peoples. Next, let's turn to Europe. The Neolithic era, after the end of the Ice Age, marked a transition from a hunter-gatherer economy to one based on farming or animal husbandry. It represented a major shift in human prehistory, leading to increased food storage and division of labor. Ancient DNA has confirmed that human migration was directly involved in the diffusion of agriculture into Europe. While early agriculture began 11,500 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, it then expanded to Anatolia, the Caucasus, and Europe between 9000 BCE and 4000 BCE. This change was accompanied by men from the GP15 haplogroup, also known as G2A. Most Neolithic cultures in Europe that have undergone ancient Y-DNA analysis have yielded a majority of G2A individuals, showing that these men had migrated from northwest Anatolia into Europe. The Neolithic farmer migration preceded what would be an even more impactful migration several thousand years later. Between 3500 and 1000 BCE, the Proto-Indo-Europeans, dominated by R1a and R1b haplogroups, expanded from the Pontic steppe across Europe and into Asia. The migrations of these pastoralists bearing R1a and R1b Y-DNA haplogroups are linked to the spread of Indo-European languages, as well as the decline of Neolithic lineages, such as G2A, possibly due to conflict, disease, or agricultural collapse. Finally, Y-DNA testing has shed light on the history of the Jewish diaspora. Extensive Y-DNA testing of the modern population has shown that among Ashkenazi Jews, there are over 130 distinct paternal lines that trace back before the existence of the Ashkenazi Jewish community, with many of these lineages tracing back to the Near East over 2,000 years ago. One of the most significant discoveries has been the Y-DNA haplogroup JZS222, also known as the Cohen modal haplogroup, which is found across Jewish populations across the world and traces back to a common ancestor born around 850 BCE. Haplogroups that contain connections between disparate Jewish populations are of great interest to researchers today. These examples remind us that Y-DNA doesn't just tell us about ourselves and our families. It tells the story of the journeys of mankind and situates our own lineages within the movement of civilizations and the rise and fall of cultures. Are you part of any of the Y-DNA lineages discussed in this video? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you're enjoying the series, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's keep decoding your Y-DNA together.